Hello and welcome to a mini-series on intimacy. The reason I'm doing this is I believe we have a somewhat limited definition of intimacy, and I want to expand on that a little. So I will be breaking this down into 5 parts: sexual, physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual. I will do my best to isolate these, but keep in mind, in the real world, these overlap each other and at different levels. My goal from here is to use this as context in future videos, so do check them all out. Physical intimacy is a need for sensual proximity and touching. It's definitely part of our sexuality, but let's try to focus on the non-sexual elements. Physical contact is crucial to any social species for their health and well-being. Social species are not lone creatures foraging and defending for oneself, but rely on a family, a flock, or a herd for survival. Most of these species have developed a higher sense of touch to keep together in conjunction with other senses like our eyes and ears. We've evolved this for a number of different benefits, from thermal regulation, cleaning, treating for lice, checking for health issues, and grooming. But physical intimacy is not an open door for just anyone to partake. We have a value for personal space, and when that gets crossed, we feel discomfort, anxiety, and even anger when violated. Only those we consider our closest friends and family may nurture our needs of physical intimacy. We humans need physical contact with one another. A hug or touch can result in the release of oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin, and reduces stress. Without a safe family to bond with, we can develop depression and anxiety, and in extreme cases, even resent people. We know them as sociopaths. You've probably heard of feral children. Rare in the Western world, but on a spectrum, they still exist. I'd argue recent parenting practices found in the Western world, where both parents work full-time jobs and leave the care and attention to their daycares, nannies, and TVs, we are systematically raising a generation of people without physical intimacy, and it's wreaking havoc on the health and well-being of everyone. I'll go into this in more detail in another video. Everyone needs to have physical intimate relationships. From birth to death, it is essential to our health and well-being as eating and exercising. I believe good chances are, if you are a Westerner, you are suffering from a lack of physical intimacy. I see it in people all the time. It's been part of our conditioning for some 3,000 years now. How comfortable are you with your naked body? Does it make you feel nervous? Does it excite you? We've become super sensitive about the naked body that for most people we're on either ends of the extreme and rarely meet in the middle where it's healthy. You should not feel ashamed of your body. It's who you are in the flesh. Nudity should be perfectly accepted at places such as beaches and swimming pools, just like it's always been, except for those last couple odd centuries. Swimwear, other than wetsuits for scuba diving, should not even need to exist. Why are we sleeping divided? In the West, we insist everyone has their own room and bed. We should be sleeping together in a large bed with a couple of smaller beds to the side for those times when you just need to rest by yourself. But you're still in the same space with your family. I'll go into more detail later about public nudity in places like beaches and family sleeping arrangements and family bathrooms in another video. Before I end off with nudity, you'll probably have a bunch of mixed thoughts on this depending on your experiences you've had in your past. Some are pleasant, some might not be. Social nudity and physical intimacy are different than sexual intimacy, even if they overlap each other, to create a relationship that has a reproductive component. The negative aspects you might be thinking of has more to do with centuries of improper education on the subject. I can assure you, in videos to come, I will debunk many myths and prove that there can be a safe, desirable, physical healthy bond that you can have with your family that is separate than the motives you would have reproductive interest with. But let's move out of that for now. I want you to close your eyes and imagine for a moment that you feel absolutely secure with yourself and the people around you. You are safe. Maybe you're at a coffee shop, on the bus, at a family dinner, eating lunch at work, playing football at school. Now imagine someone around you is going to come into your bubble. If you're at a coffee shop, maybe the stranger is sitting too close to you and you feel uncomfortable and decide it's time to leave. Maybe the same thing happens on the bus, but fortunately, yours is the next stop. It's dinner time. The table's tight. You gotta sit close, but that's okay. You're not bothered. You're used to it and thinking about how good tonight's lasagna is gonna be. At work, one of your friends sneaks up behind you and reaches for your drink and takes a sip. You laugh at them and tell them off because of it, because it's your drink. The game's ended, you score the last touchdown and win the game. Everyone rushes over and picks you up to celebrate. You feel great. No matter where you are, you have different people around you and at different levels of relationships. Some of them are family, others are friends, acquaintances, or strangers. What matters most is when and whom you feel comfortable with that enters your bubble. Your bubble has different dimensions depending on where you are and who you're with. If you feel safe and secure, that bubble shrinks to almost nothing. But when you feel vulnerable and uncomfortable, that bubble can extend to great lengths. And that's my point. This bubble is what can be arbitrarily measured. It has an appropriate dimension in any given situation. And we should try to think about them in our variety of relationships we have and figure if the range of our bubbles is healthy. This might take a further education and understanding because it should not be measured by our insecurities. We do have them, but if we push our bubble farther than what would be healthy, then maybe we need to evaluate and apply therapy to bring that bubble back to a healthy boundary. Our physical proximity with one another is vital to our health. If we want to live healthy, long lives, we need to be physically in contact with each other. Now try to rank yourself on a scale of 1 to 4 with the people you know that fits this context. 1 being nothing, 2 needs work, 3 is satisfactory, and 4 is great. Keep this level in mind, and if you feel like the relationships you have now need some more work, look for strategies to improving it. But bear in mind that not all relationships need to hit a 4. Some will be perfectly fine being satisfactory. But through other people, you may need to hit a 4. Also keep in mind, not everyone can fulfill all forms of intimacy at a great level. We can get this through many of our closest friends and family. Thank you for taking a moment and watching this video. If you have not already, do check out the other 4 videos in this mini-series on intimacy. See you then.